I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
We're the insiders. So Scott, hey, looks like former Representative Duffy may be back in the Wisconsin governor's race for the primary. How do you feel about that? How does Rebecca Clayfish feel about that? And how does the Republican Party feel about that?
Well, I don't think anyone's really surprised that the president, President Trump, wants one of his biggest cheerleaders on cable television to be the candidate for governor in the state of Wisconsin. Obviously, Sean has been out there defending the president for more than 5 years now, and is one of his more articulate spokesmen on cable television. So I don't think anyone's surprised about that, and not surprised that Sean, when the president calls you, would say, "Yeah, I'm willing to consider this. I'll think about it." But if you think about it very long, it's pretty improbable and impractical. Sean and his wife have both moved the whole family, the whole crew, which is a lot, all the way from Wisconsin, where they sold their big house, to buy a house in New Jersey that's very close to the Fox television studios, where she works as the morning anchor on the weekends, and he is a commentator who gets paid more the more times he shows up on television there. So I think it is unlikely they would now decide, maybe over the Christmas holidays, we'll sell our house, move the whole family back to Wisconsin, where all we have is a little cabin on the lake. We no longer have the big house with rooms for all of these kids. And my wife will live in New York while I'm here running full-time for governor in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, that's just wildly improbable and impractical, and I think not likely to happen. What I do think is kind of interesting is some folks have said this freezes the race for governor. I think it freezes the race for governor for everybody who's not in it. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who might be thinking about getting in the race for governor on the Republican side who are like, well, now I got to wait to see what Sean's going to do. But Rebecca Clayfish doesn't have to do that. She's already out there lapping everyone on the circuit and raising an incredible amount of money. So I think it is actually not harmful to Rebecca in the long run. I think it actually makes it less likely that other people will jump in the race while Sean is taking his time to think about it and enjoying the attention that he's getting.
Methinks he doth protest too much. Let me give you a different scenario. First of all, remember, the politicians very seldom leave the stage on their own, and they are already infected with the political bug. It rarely goes away. They love to run for something. And now Duffy has to understand that with Trump's endorsement, he basically has a ticket to the general election in Wisconsin. He knows that that's the case. If he comes back and does this, he will win the Republican primary, number one. Number two, he knows, as Scott has pointed out, and as we recognize, in an off-year election after Biden, it's going to be a tough race next year for Democrats. And so Sean Duffy says, look, I get the nomination and I'm likely to be governor. And here's what he says to his wife. He says, honey, you stay here. I'll go back and run. We're going to move into the governor's residence. And you know what? The governor's residence has got a lot of space, plenty of room for all the kids. We'll be on the lake. You can keep doing your thing. But you know what? This is our chance to really move forward. And you know what? It's governor today. It's president down the road. Let's do this. I can see that scenario. Now, maybe it doesn't happen, but I'll tell you what, Sean Duffy running for Congress and being a congressman, he's out. I can tell you, he's missing the fact that he's not in some kind of a legislative or executive capacity. I could easily see this guy coming back and doing it. Now, what does it do to the race? Okay, if Duffy gets in, I think game over. You know, I mean, as Trump showed in the primary, game over, Duffy wins. If Duffy doesn't get in, what's going to happen is we're still going to go through this go around where Ron Johnson has to make a decision. If Ron Johnson runs, that means that there are going to be Nicholson, and I doubt that Gallagher will get in, but at least Nicholson will be in the race. No matter what, Rebecca Clayfish could not have liked it when Donald Trump gave that endorsement, because clearly she will only be his second or third or fourth person in this race to be able to say, yeah, I want you to be the Republican governor in the state of Wisconsin. That does not help. But the other thing is, you're still going to get a primary. She knows that. She's either going to see Nicholson or Duffy, or she's going to see somebody else, depending upon what Ron Johnson does. And if there's anybody who wants Ron Johnson to run, to not run for US Senate, it's got to be Rebecca Clayfish.
But we'll see. And I encourage Sean to take his time in deciding and considering this matter.
We'll see you next time.